Daily Wire host calls the U.S. soccer team treasonous for using rainbow colors as one of their crests. The snowflakery on display is absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe this is the point that our politics has gotten to at the World Cup. If I was in charge of the country, they wouldn't be allowed back into the country. And then Matt Walsh is like, yes, I do think that. I do think that we should charge people with treason and exile them from the country because there are too many colors in the thing. There are too many of them. You have to stick to only two primary colors. I mean, I don't really know what to say here. It's basically just a Republican like waving a big flag, saying like, "Yes, we're evil," and like, yeah, we are an authoritarian. We are evil. Like, like I don't know what analysis I'm supposed to add to this. Matt Walsh would see you all sent to a camp. Like, yeah, we all know that about him. Matt Walsh has been getting incredibly open about how much he hates gay people. He's openly said anyone who supports gay marriage being federal legislation should be exiled from the government. Yeah, no, he did, yeah. But that's what I said, right? Like, this is the transitionary period where the fascists have spent their time trying to slowly accrue support by being a little bit more moderate, a little bit more, hands across the aisle. Donald Trump holding up the LGBT for Trump flag. But now we're fully on the, like, yeah, we've built our coalition, and we now are like fully committed to like the genocide train. Choo choo.
And the thing that's really amazing to me is that it is now apparently the law of the land and societal rule.
Okay, I've been thinking about this. You know who Matt Walsh reminds me of? Matt Walsh reminds me of the cultists under Joseph Seed in Far Cry 5 because they're like coded Christian nationalist fascists. But for some reason, the guys in Far Cry 5 look soy because the idiots who developed Far Cry 5 were like, well, we don't want to make any political statements about our game where an evangelical Christian coded cultist leads rural Americans into a gun-crazed like death cult. They didn't want to get like political about it. So if you look at the way that the like cultists look in Far Cry 5, here wait, Far Cry 5 cover, can I just use the cover? Oh my God, why do they do that? Fine, just show me Joseph Seed. Joseph Seed, the cult leader, despite being like evangelical Christian in every possible sense, like coded wise, for some reason they make him look like your drug hookup in Portland, Like seriously, look at him, Jesus Christ. Well, he doesn't mention Jesus Christ. Cuz, yeah. But this is the vibe that I get with Matt Walsh because the dude's a fascist. I mean, so is he. It's just like for some reason the developers were like, what if we made him look soy? And that's what we have to deal with now, Soy fascism coded for the 21st century. I bought those glasses because they drip. The glasses for Joseph C. do drip, that's true. Ah yes, Matt Walsh without the beard, that's right. Like, come on. You look at this guy, you really think he's going to be a far-right fascist or whatever? This guy looks like he collects vinyls. This guy looks like he doesn't get second dates because he's too eager to tell the girls that he has first dates with how like much he likes eating pussy. Look at his fucking hat. This looks like a guy who has like opinions on like different film resolutions through history. You know what I mean? Like opinions that you could ask him about. Like, oh, I actually think 4x3 was a really innovative way of shaping the, yeah, the fucking dick sucking lips, dude. Holy shit. Pan and scan. Yeah, exactly. This looks like a guy who has like a DeLorean model of the Back to the Future movies. He's got a little glass case with a light. This motherfucker carries a condom in his wallet, even though he's in a monogamous relationship and got a vasectomy 6 years ago, because it still makes him feel like kind of, like he's still with it when he goes out and he like opens his wallet and sees the condom in there, But it's like, no, he's actually a fascist, Cut the bit while you're ahead. It's a good bit. All right. Don't at me with that Back to the Future thing. Listen, as a soy boy, okay? I just want to let you all know, I stand with all of you, unless you're a fascist, in which case I don't.
That the only rationale that you would possibly have for saying that a marriage is between a man and a woman is because you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim. That's really the only reason at all. That the only reason we'll allow you to have these crazy beliefs so long as you can show that they're crazy beliefs. So long as you can show that the reason that you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman is because you read it in a book and because you really believe the book. They keep saying sincere religious belief. I don't even know how you measure sincere religious belief. Are we going to like now monitor how often you go to church or to synagogue, whether you keep kosher or whether you take communion in order to determine your sincere? I mean, the same media that declares that Nancy Pelosi is a sincere religious believer who's just for the mass abortion of unborn children a little clear that you, Matt Walsh, are not actively in favor of the things that you're in favor of. You're just...
Can we just settle this discussion right now? Nobody whose job it is to preach politics is a sincere believer, okay? You cannot be a sincere believer of Christ while also being like a passionate politician or pundit or demagogue or whatever else. You simply can't, okay? The two things are totally antithetical. A sincere believer in Christ or whatever else is like a devotee to humility, to cultivating your flock, you know, to prioritizing such and such. You can't be a true believer and be these guys, okay? None of these guys go to church. None of these guys actually give a shit. None of them really believe. None of these people actually care. These guys threw their weight behind Donald Trump and called him like a savior of Christians when Donald Trump is the most I have never gone to church guy in all of human history. I've gone to church once, and it was when I was like 10, and my grandpa brought me because he was babysitting me and he wanted to go to church, so I just sat there and then I had a cracker, okay? I have been to church more than Donald Trump has. Man is Jewish. Why would he go to church? Well, obviously for him it would be the synagogue.
Just a religious bigot. You're a bigot, right? And your religion is a cover for your bigotry. I'm highly annoyed by the constant derogation of non-religious arguments into religious arguments. And this is what the left loves to do. They like to say
there are no non-religious arguments. There are no non-religious arguments for disincentivizing gay marriage. They say that the social unit is strongest with like prioritizing the nuclear family. First of all, the question as to whether or not the state should assign certain legal rights and protections exclusively to people who form a bodily unit that is considered the most socially efficient, that's questionable to begin with. Secondly, the nuclear family is objectively not the most stable family unit. Hey guys, why do you think Hispanic households have so much stronger community and family ties? Huh? If conservatives were really interested in preserving like social cohesion and strength, then why do they make fun of people for working a job while living with their parents? Huh? Why do they have an issue with like more communal like living or like Italianos or whatever? No, no. In reality, the political the biases here in like a non-religious sense are towards neoliberalism. The idea is that by atomizing and alienating people into their separate little modern family corridors, you keep social cohesion low, which means that you keep group connectivity low, which means you keep class consciousness low, you keep everyone hyper fixated on their super like commodified, hyper like capitalist dream of living out a Sims like lifestyle where they get the pool and everything. People don't know their neighbors. Like they want you. Listen, okay? Are you guys ready for the truth? Shoe's not ready for this one, okay? Suburban white picket fence living is literally just the trad version of get in the pod, Bugman. That's literally the same thing. In both cases, we're talking about a socially enforced, hegemonically idealized conceptualization of the ideal like living situation as one where you have no connectivity with your environment or with the people around you. The only difference is like one of them is austere and like urban coded, and the other one is more like rural coded, and you have room to put your feet up. Apart from that, though, they functionally serve the same purpose, which is to get people used to living in the box, whether the box be a pod or like a lawn that you destroy your environment to keep watered, you know, whatever. Anyway, that's the reason why they care so much about marriage. Do you think it's intentional or unintentional? It's fully intentional. If you take a look at the history of like the modern nuclear family, this is not some like accidental thing that emerged naturally because it was most happy or most efficient or whatever. This is something that policymakers have deliberately crafted. If you take a look at the way like welfare laws are crafted, if you take a look at the way that our cities are built and structured, if you take a look at the way that Shu agrees. We got it. I got the most trad wife. I got somebody who's wearing an apron right now to agree with me. That's it. We did it. We completed the circle. Yes, it is the pod. Of course, in reality, the Italians, the world's first black people or something, they are the ones who invented ideal social living. So Shu would know that with the progeny and all that. Which is the ideal social living situation is where you live in a cramped house where there is always an old person that's cooking and the house always smells great because of it. And if ever you have a cute girl that you want to like First, you have to introduce her to your family, and they're all like, she's too good for you. Ah! And all your family members are acting like chimps when they meet your girlfriend. And then you have to squeeze into like the radiator closet for a quickie. And that right there is like peak human. That right there is the soul of humanity, you know? You try to make no noise, but your family still hears, and your mom is like, "Oh, I told him not to," but then your dad's like, my boy." That right there, I'm telling you, this is what this right here, I'm telling you, it's how humans were meant to live. And not, yeah, just, all right, I'm so it's gonna get a move on.
You're pro-life. The reason you're pro-life is because of your crazy religion. And so maybe we can respect your crazy religion along those. That is not the argument for marriage. The argument for marriage has literally nothing to do with religion. You could be a visitor from Mars, and you could see that all of human procreation relies on man, woman, child. This is not particularly difficult stuff.
What does this have to do with marriage? What? Are they debating? I think this is like a bro job, but vocal? I'm not sure. The funny thing is, man, especially, you know who Jesus Christ would care most about? Like orphans, right? One of the nice things about the legality of gay marriage is that it's actually an effective way at dealing with like our orphanage care system, because there are a lot of listen, the state caretaker systems for orphans in the US are beyond nightmarish. I could just make something up right now that sounds like it came straight from like an Edgar Allan Poe short story, and it would be probably better than what a lot of orphans go through day to day. Like I could just and then like the hammer guy hits them on the head with the hammer, and then the hammer guy says, "That was your lunch, son," and then walks out, and then this is probably happening right now. It's a horrible system. And you know, if marriages between like the gays means they like adopt some, that's really nice. Also, do we deny marriage to infertile people? Like, right? Do we tell like older people they can't marry? It's like, oh, actually, your social organization unit is meant to facilitate procreation. Well, then why do we marry infertile people? Clearly, like in reality, it's about neoliberalism. It's about heterosexuality. But like they want to pretend it's actually about logic and science, which is like a pretty common Ben Shapiro take. Matt Walsh isn't talking right now because he has to like keep his mouth shut, because he knows that if he opens it, he would be like, "I concur, Ben. Also, there's the secular argument for shooting them, which I believe," and then he would like go into that because that's what he believes, you know.
By essentially boxing in the argument in favor of traditional marriage into, well, if you're a crazy religious believer, maybe we'll let you have that. But you know, if you're a cake baker, then we're not sure about that, right? I mean, like we're not sure how far this religious liberty thing extends. What you're really doing is you're setting the ground game at same-sex marriage and traditional marriage are completely the same thing.
True.
And if you object to it, the only reason that will even allow you to do that is because of this crazy thing called religion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like overwhelmingly, yes. Opposition to same-sex marriage in the U.S. is a religious thing. Not 100%, but yeah, like literally, for decades, that has been the argument fronted by the right, which is like, a traditional marriage, man and woman, God says so, blah, blah. Like it's all been religiously oriented. White people do dog marriages for fun. Marriage is meaningless, and that's good. Marriage is just when you wear a cute dress and then kiss somebody that you like a lot, and I think that's cool. But if you try to put more meaning into it than that, and then like try to push that onto other people, yeah, it's cute dress pilled. That's fine, you know. I'm not anti-cute dress. Matt Walsh clip to watch after. What is this?
Obviously, if you do this,
He's referring to sodomy, of course.
Is to begin with, it's not just this, but it is also to begin with a threat to an attack on religious liberty.
This is true. All sodomy.
That's where it ultimately leads. Because if you're codifying on a federal level that two men have a right to get married, that's a human right, a civil right, then that would mean by extension that that a church that refuses to marry a gay couple is depriving them of their basic human civil rights.
No, that's not how that works. Well, no, chat, you're incorrect on this one. The right to have a same-sex marriage does not mean that every institution has to do it. Protection of same-sex marriage would mean the state has to grant or award you that marriage. They have to recognize that marriage. Like right now, for example, the Mormon Church has supported the Protection of Marriage Act, or whatever it's called, because while they believe that it should be civilly allowed, religiously they still think it's a sin, which is their religious freedom. Much as I disagree with it and think it's hella abusive to have a kid grow up in a household where they're told they'll be sent to fucking hell for all eternity if they ever eat ass, which, you know, it's 2022. What are you supposed to do? Um, listen, this is an acceptable compromise, okay? As far as I'm concerned. It is listen, okay, let me put it this way. There are two kinds of marriage that often overlap but don't always. Civilly recognized marriage and religiously recognized marriage. Religiously recognized marriage is civilly recognized, right? Like if a church marries you, it's like, ooh, under God, da da da, you know, the state recognizes your marriage, okay? You can go to like a courthouse right now and get married. You guys know that? You can go to a courthouse and get married. You can have a wedding and have it officiated by somebody who's not of a religious denomination. You can just have it. You can do that without a religion. What I care about is that I care about the right for the state to grant these legal civil rights to all people. Frankly, I don't think there's much benefit to trying to like I don't know, compel like an average little church to do this kind of ceremony. I guess this can kind of depend area by area, because there might be some places where the only place you could really get a lot of these functions would be through local. Call it a short-term compromise. How about here? New argument. I'm doshing out a new one, okay? You, I don't care. Eat shit. There we go. Got that one. Sorry, that took me a bit to come to. You know, I'm just, here we are.
They may not be putting that language in the bill exactly because they want it to pass, but that's what it means. And that's how it will be used, no matter what the bill says.
It's the secret. It's the secret text that you couldn't read because it was so small.
And I'll tell you this, that, you know, any Republican who would sign on to a bill like this, I don't care if they have this weak, you know, they've created this Trojan horse now where they're pretending that they're protecting religious liberty. Doesn't matter. Any Republican who would sign on to that should be exiled from the party.
Good. Join us. That's 12 Republican senators that are now Dems. Thank you, Matt. Adding to my power. They're literally mauling out over the most bare bones bill that could be passed. Well, yeah, Matt Walsh wants to facilitate a genocide of LGBT people. Yeah, he does. Yeah, of course he does. All of his language about trans people and queer people broadly, it's not just I disagree with you. It's explicitly like, you are the downfall of our civilization. He literally said yesterday that it was like a soccer team shouldn't be allowed to return to the United States because in the World Cup they had like the rainbow flag as part of their colors. Like, he's at a level right now where like any perceived allegiance with progressivism on LGBT issues is justification for being like exiled from the country. This is not like, of course he would get mad over Republicans, voting to ratify a federal right to same-sex and interracial marriage. He wants them dead.
Won't happen because this is the direction the whole party is going, but that's what should happen.
Here's the soccer clip. Man, we're getting like fractal with Matt Walsh here. At least this one's in 1080p. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Matt Walsh blog on U.S. men's soccer team changing their crest to include the pride flag colors. The corporate gay pride stuff is all just sheep's blood on the door, signaling they're the chosen people, so the angel of cancellation passes them over. Very mentally well, this guy. Very, very normal.
Which leads us up to Transgender Remembrance Day. And it's important that we have this week and that day to become aware of and remember trans people, just as it's crucial that we have LGBT Pride Month and LGBT History Month and LGBT Spirit Day.
Yes. Do you guys know that if you look at every, like, what is today, every day that you're alive, there's like 17 things happening. Like, they're not all federal holidays. None of the stuff he just mentioned are. Like, there's a National Bagel Day. Hold on. America National Pizza Day. Saturday, November 12th. It was 4 days ago. Oh, sorry, no. This was the National Pizza with Everything Except Anchovies Day. My bad. February 9th is the actual National Pizza Day. Oh, wow, big pizza lobby. We need all that. Like, again, you know, if they want to, one of my friends was born on Crab Racing Day. Yeah, oh, Crab Racing Day. The crab racing lunatics are forcing this down our throat. Today is National Fast Food Day. Oh, God, every day is National Fast Food Day in this country.
And Pronoun Awareness Day, and International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia, and so on. It's clear that there is not a special...
Thanks, Jazz Dog. Yeah, let's see what's happening today. Baidush, a Hindu religious thing, Botox Cosmetic Day, Clarinet Day, Education Support Professionals Day, Geographic Information Systems Day, GIS Day, Have a Party with Your Bear Day, International Day for Tolerance, National Andy Day, National Black Marketers Day, National Button Day, National Chars Day, National Educational Support Professionals Day, National Fast Food Day, National Indiana Day, National COPD Day, and World Pancreatic Cancer Day. So there you go. The clarinetists taking over. Like, yeah. You know, you can just declare anything, right? It's not like the state has to recognize it.
That if there is not a special holiday recognizing and calling attention to LGBT people, and especially trans people, and if we don't have this holiday at least twice a month, then we will all forget that these people exist, and they will immediately evaporate.
How could we ever forget trans people exist when Matt Walsh still is a show to remind us day in and day out that they exist with his totally not at all obsessive fixation on them?
It'll be like that show, The Leftovers, which is a great show, by the way, depicting an apocalyptic scenario where a large portion of the Earth's population suddenly vanishes without a trace. And the creator of that show never said this explicitly, but it's clear that it was supposed to be a parable about what...
Oh, I want to remind you guys, by the way, are you guys tired of everything being all about gay or trans? Okay, I'm going to come out right now, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? Honest to God? Yeah, it's overplayed. Whose fault is it? It's the fucking Republicans. Legit, it is. For real. 99% of all the constant national discourse on everything trans, this, that, the other, it's because conservatives keep trying to take away their rights. That's it. No, seriously, that's it. Why do people talk about this? Well, because they're under attack for this, you know? It's like asking why Jews keep coming up so much, like in 1931 or whatever. Well, you know, whose fault is that, really? You know, like two Nazis talking in the break room, like, Hans, have you noticed the Jews come up so often on the radio? They really do, you know, controls the national interest. And like 98% of the discussion of Jews on national radio is from the Nazis that are like publicly talking about it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
what will happen if we don't have enough LGBT awareness days. So we must always remain aware. We must make sure that everyone else is aware, and that the LGBT club stays at the center of everything always, no matter what, forever. And so to that end, the Men's World Cup team is doing its part, providing further evidence that soccer is gay. The men's team has redesigned their official crest to get rid of the American flag colors and instead incorporate the rainbow flag. From the Daily Mail, it says, the United States men's national team have made a huge statement at the World Cup in Qatar by redesigning their crest to incorporate the rainbow flag in a bid to show solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community.
Well, considering the fact they were in Qatar, you know, I feel like it might, I don't know, might try to be saying something a little bit. Smidge?
The tournament, which starts on Sunday and sees the U.S. play their opener against Wales on Monday, has been hugely controversial in its build-up given Qatar's human rights record and attitude to homosexuality.
He said, human sexuality, because even he knows that homosexuality is just a normal part of human sexuality.
Recently as this month, a Qatar World Cup ambassador told a German TV broadcaster that homosexuality was damage to the mind and it remains illegal to be gay in the conservative Muslim country. The U.S.
Now let Matt Walsh explain how he fully agrees with the Qatari government.
SMT appeared to have made an immediate stand on their arrival in Doha, though, by changing their usual red stripes on their crest to a rainbow around their team base. Pictures from the Al Gharafa SC Stadium in Ar Rayyan, where the U.S.
Is he just reading out loud? Shut up. Jesus Christ. Boring. Do your job.
Actually an example really, of trans erasure rather than trans awareness, as it only includes the colors on the old LGBT flag. That's the bigoted, hateful LGBT flag of our ancestors.
Is he going to make a point? Like we're 3 minutes in. He hasn't said anything yet.
The one that looks tacky but lacks the boldness and courage to be totally chaotic and are represented elsewhere. USMNT's chief communications officer told DailyMail.com, our rainbow badge has an important and consistent role in the identity of U.S. soccer. As part of our approach for any match or event, we include rainbow branding to support and embrace the LGBTQ.
Oh, wait, yeah. Kazium, you're right. There's brown right here. That's not from the original LGBT flag. It's not really a straight lift of the colors either. Does the original, hold on. It doesn't have that violet on the right as well. The original LGBT, I guess it does. This looked darker than I remember the violet being on the regular flag. Whatever. The brown there definitely is normal for the newer one. It's the Philly pride flag. Ah, yes.
Community, as well as to promote a spirit of inclusiveness and welcoming to all fans across the globe. As a result, locations that we will manage and operate at the FIFA World Cup, such as the team hotel, media areas, and parties, will feature both traditional rainbow U.S. soccer branding. So it will have the traditional flag and also the rainbow flag.
Cool.
Now, you may point out that if U.S. soccer is actually concerned about Qatar's record on, quote, LGBT rights, they could make a much greater statement by refusing to participate in the World Cup in the first place.
This is true. I don't know if that would necessarily be better, but that is an option they could take. Conservatives love to do this when they're like, oh, so you like a good thing, huh? Well, then, why aren't you doing another good thing then? I hear this all the time. It's like, so you like socialism, huh? And why haven't you donated every cent you own to a workers' rights org and then die? Curious. He would have complained if they did that. Oh yeah, if a American athletics team declined to participate in the World Cup, well, maybe he wouldn't care because it's soccer. But I feel like he'd be like, "Wow, you care so much about LGBT people that you're like not even going to show up at the one thing you've been training for the whole year. If you really cared about LGBT rights, why not show up at the World Cup in Qatar and then rep them there, you know? Maybe you're just being lazy." Like, he would have done this either direction. There's not a way of empirically determining which measure is better.
I mean, by simply showing up and participating, they are financially supporting the country that they claim to be protesting against, which is a bit like protesting J.K. Rowling by buying a Harry Potter book and then burning it. I mean, you've already bought the book.
Well, no, because being a team participating there but publicly demonstrating a political position gives an audience to the position that you're holding, whereas buying a book and then burning it doesn't do anything publicly. The only actual outcome to that is the purchased book. So they're not really comparable, but, you know, just fact-checking my man over here.
Or protesting Elon Musk by buying a Tesla and then running it into a telephone pole on purpose.
Does that happen? Is that a strat? I agree that would be a silly idea. Okay. Yeah, why would you need to get the Tesla to run into a telephone pole? You're just buy a Tesla.
You've already given your financial support. It's a little bit too late. Whatever statement you make in the process or afterwards is now irrelevant.
No? Buying into a massive world stage as a way of making a political point is actually a really effective way of... Think about, was it Jesse Owens in the 1930, what was it, 2 Olympics in Germany, in Berlin, right? Yeah, 32, yeah. You know, Americans participated, and Hitler got, 36, sorry, you know? And Jesse Owens got to zoom really fast around the track and outpace the supposedly superior Aryan racers. And Hitler got to go 999. He was quite frustrated. He was very unhappy with that. That was fun. Would it have been better if Jesse Owens just hadn't gone because it was in Berlin? Was it bad that Jesse Owens, like, to a world audience, demonstrated an element of physical superiority from a black man in a Nazi regime? I don't know why I mean, obviously his point's stupid.
But then, of course, this is the whole point of virtue signaling. That's why we call it virtue signaling, not virtue doing. We don't call it virtue doing because there is no virtue involved here in the first place. And also because nothing is being done.
What? The term virtue signaling was always really dumb because all people virtue signal all the time just through natural, normal behavior. He's doing it right now to his conservative audience with his positions. I do. Everyone like I don't know what it means anymore. When I think virtue signaling, I think like I think of somebody like very performatively demonstrating something in a fashion that doesn't like reflect their actual values or comes across as kind of like hollow, um, or pretentious. You know what I mean? Like it pretends to be more than it is. But that's not happening here. They just changed the colors in their logo. That's it. It's just okay. Like, it's also by that logic, it's also virtue signaling anytime you put an American flag in any logo or brand, which it is. And it's like, if you really loved America, then why don't you have all production and manufacturing done in America and pay higher wages to your is that an argument he would make? Probably not.
The corporate gay pride stuff is all just sheep's blood on the door, signaling that they are the chosen people so that the angel of cancellation passes them over.
Very weird, prepared statement here. He had this one ready. He thought it was clever.
But as far as symbolism goes, I think it is appropriate that they should replace the colors of the American flag with the colors of the LGBT flag. I mean,
the American flag was already the virtue signal. Right? Having the American flag in your logo was okay.
It's horrendous. It's traitorous. It's treasonous.
Treasonous. If it's just a meaningless virtue signal, why does it get him so angry? Funnily enough, like it seems like it's making him angrier than the Qatari government, you know?
If I was in charge of the country, they wouldn't be allowed back into the country.
See, literally, he's like, it's just a virtue signal. Changing the colors of your logo doesn't actually do anything to far-right religious autocrats who hate gay people. By the way, I'm so angry at this that I would literally charge you with treason if I was in charge of the country.
But it's also appropriate because the LGBT nation, LGBTistan, we may call it.
Oh, God. God willing, huh?
Is, after all, the country that corporate America, as well as the United States government, seeks to represent. It is the nation that the left pledges its allegiance to.
So right now he's so this is it comes across as really dumb, but this is like a Nazi talking point. The idea one of the large like conspiracy theories pushed by the Nazis when they were gaining power was that the Weimar Republic was an illegitimate post-World War I government controlled by Jewish people that that sort of leached off the weakness of the German people. And maintained a kind of like deficiency and subservience to other countries. The idea of a dual allegiance is often invoked when trying to invoke genocidal violence against a group, right? So the idea to the Nazis that, oh, you're not actually loyal to Germany, you're loyal to this other country, in their case, the Weimar Republic, this Jewish republic, or so they would call it. They would use that to execute people. They killed a lot of people. A lot of people. With that basically being the charge, you know? It was, in fact, and you can learn this with the most recent video on Three Arrows channel. This myth was so persistent that the Nazi sympathetic judges in the Weimar Republic's court would actually exonerate those charged with crimes if they were doing it for their love of the German nation. So in the Weimar Republic, there were Nazi judges who would make the argument that brown shirts who murdered or did arson or whatever, if they were doing it for the German Republic, which was not the Weimar Republic, that they were demonstrating a kind of superior patriotism that justified their actions. And people got away with literal murder for that. So obviously, I'm just pointing out, and I feel like I know it seems like I overhyped this talking point, but I want to make it really clear, like, there is no ideological difference here with what Matt Walsh is. None. It is the height of liberal arrogance to suggest otherwise. Everything that he does and says fits fully in line with the basic rhetorical and ideological strategies of the Third Reich. You know, it's just a matter of time and place. America is not as weak as the Weimar Republic, and so we aren't as susceptible to this kind of rhetoric. We don't fall as easily, but we still could. And I think it's important to know what exactly they're threatening us with.
It is the country that wishes to colonize the world and export its ideas and values to corners of the globe that have no interest in them. Now, I've often said that the Alphabet Club is
Globo Homo, the Nazi conspiracy theory that the homosexual agenda, or liberals, or whatever you want to ascribe that to, represents a globalist internationalist cult that seeks to impose its degenerate values on countries all around the world. Also believed by the Nazis, though of course they didn't use the term Globo Homo, they did believe in, oh, you all can fill in the blanks.
a religious cult. And it is that, certainly. But maybe on second thought, it's better understood in this way, as a country. It has its own flag, its own national holidays, its own myths and traditions.
Dual allegiance. We are of separate people. The real America is not the corporate, government-controlled America that we live in today. He's doing the same thing. Nazis said the Weimar Republic were controlled by them, and he's saying the same thing about America today. The corporations and the government are controlled by international LGBT, globo homo, so on and so forth.
Its own sports teams.
Controlled by they slash
And
them.
it has its own government, too, which is formerly known as the United States government. Now, some people predict that we will eventually, in the future, become two countries. There's going to be some kind of...
I'm telling you. You can actually predict everything he's going to say because he's just following in line with the same conspiracies, the same, justifying myths.
Civil war. But the point is that we're already two countries. There's one that salutes the pride flag and despises the American flag, and one that salutes the American flag and has no use for the pride flag.
Has no use for social leeches and parasites who must be cast aside by real patriots in order to restore the soul of America. Again, I will not stop harping on this. It is exactly the same. Useless eaters. And no, he did. He did the Weimar thing. Yes, he declared the U.S. government a foreign government ruled by LGBT. Yeah, not the true government. The real Americans are, they belong to a separate country.
At this point, it's only a matter of making the split official, I suppose. Something that we will probably never do, but we should.
Considering the fact that the United States of America is a country with only one set of borders, what do you think he means when he says formalize the split? Exactly.
And that is why U.S. soccer is today canceled, though really a lot of unnecessary words there because U.S. soccer is already canceled because it's soccer.
That's true. Nice clip.
So canceled on two levels there.
Got him. Oh, there we go. We got our daily dose of reminding ourselves what we're up against.
To my great shame, I have neglected to mention...
Goddamn, Qatar having a normal one? Sorry. Qatari security threatened to destroy camera during live TV report at World Cup. Sure, I'll take a look. Why not?
Fra Qatar, Rasmus Tandholt, et værtsland, der jo altså bliver udsat for en hel del kritik. Hvordan oplever du forholdene lige nu?
I fully agree.
Jamen, vi kan jo vise, hvordan forholdene er lige her, hvis vi drejer kameraet. We are live on Danish television, og der kan I se, nu bliver vi stoppet med at filme, og det er forholdene her. Mister, you invited the whole world to you invited the whole world to come here. Why can't we film? It's a public place. We can film with this permit. This is the upgrade pass, and this is the accreditation. Okay. We can film anywhere we want. Okay. There are only, of course...
Permit for the Qatar. Qatar, you have because the Qatar is a
No, we don't need permit. But you can break the camera. You want to break the camera? Okay, you break the camera. Okay. Yes. So you're threatening us by smashing the camera. But
Okay. Well, this Danish journalist is based. Well, I respect the fact that he's defending his right to film. So they wanted to smash his camera because he was showing slave labor? Was that they didn't want him filming the workers or talking about it? Was that it? Qatar's a shithole? Yes, it is. It's an absolute shithole. Why would they ever have the World Cup there? The World Cup is one of the most corrupt organizations. You can't learn anything about the World Cup without learning about corruption. It's fully and completely, yeah. FIFA, you mean? FIFA runs the World Cup. Yeah, yeah. The international soccer, whatever. It's every time I hear anything, it's just bribery and corruption and filth and so on. Qatar bribed FIFA for the World Cup hosting. Yeah. Why do they try to keep it secret? I don't know. I don't know.